Smith, and this is Tales of the Hunt. Today I'm going to talk to you about a whitetail buck. This one right here. This was my first buck that I ever got in Kansas. Shot him in the year 2000. Hunt with my best friend Sean Dennison on his father-in-law Kevin Fair's farm there in Lyon County, Kansas. Sean had been going there for quite a few years and kept talking about the big bucks that Kansas had, and I was living in Colorado at the time, or I was actually in New Mexico when I put in for the draw. I'd moved to Colorado at the time, so I was excited to get over there and give it a try. I hadn't hunted whitetails in quite a few years, so I went over there and Sean showed me around, and man, right away we saw deer, and I think I only hunted a day or two out of a ladder stand that he put up and shot myself a nice doe, because back then I got, I think, 1 or 2 doe tags in my buck tag. And so we hunted, and man, we saw bucks, nice bucks, nicer than any of the East Texas bucks I'd ever seen before, but no shots, you know. They're always moving through the timber, or this, that, or the other. I think you're on there about the 4th or 4th day, I finally did get a shot at a real nice 9-pointer in a stand that I hung. I sat in stands that Sean had put up and observed deer and decided I wanted to kind of hone in on different spots. So I'd hung a stand in a big old bodark tree, Osage, orange tree. And over the years, I'll tell you, that tree has produced a lot of nice bucks for me and Sean. It's just in a real premium spot on a creek crossing. But anyway, I got in that stand the first morning after I set it. I put it up that one evening. The next morning I got in it, and a real nice 9-pointer with a hook cheater off of his right G2 come in behind me. And I had to turn and was trying to get a shot through a hole, and I had one little softball size hole to shoot through, and I didn't thread the needle just right. It blew my arrow up, and the buck ran off unscathed. Well, it's getting long down there. About I think it was on Friday or Thursday, November the 9th. We had till Saturday to hunt, so I think we only had 2 more days to hunt. It was the evening hunt. I was headed back to that stand, and me and Sean were walking down the driveway, headed out to hunt that evening, and Sean had just started shooting rocket broadheads. I was still shooting 85 grain 2-blade Spitfires. And Sean had switched over to a 75 grain Rocket Wolverine. And we were walking, he screwed one off of his arrow and he handed it to me. He said, "Hey, these are only within 10 grains of each other. This might change your luck a little bit. Shoot one of my broadheads." So I just threw it in my shirt pocket. I had a long sleeve tee camouflage shirt with a shirt pocket on it. And I just stuck it in that pocket and got down there and tied my bow up, climbed up in the tree and pulled the bow up and got settled and remembered, oh man, I better put my broadhead on. So I took my arrow back off and unscrewed the broadhead and put Sean's 75 grain Rocket Wolverine on there. Sat there for a while and had not seen a possum in quite a few years living in Colorado. So I saw a possum come out of the woods, and I was watching that possum, enjoying him, watching him walk around down there in the creek bottom. And I looked up and looked clear across this pasture, and there was a tree sticking, a sapling, and it was just whipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Man, I was watching that thing, and about that time, this buck right here come off of a hill, jumped the fence, walked across CRP field, went over to the creek bottom. I said, good night. Look at the size of that deer. It was a nice buck. Man, it had points sticking up everywhere. It was a nice looking deer, one I'd be real proud to get. So he went plumb out of sight down in the creek bottom. I kind of prayed, Lord, that's just the kind of buck I'd like to have. I hope he shows up. Boy, just as soon as I thought that, right out of the creek bottom, he come, boom. He come straight to me like he was on a string coming, and there was a scrape right there at 8 yards. Now, he was downwind, but I had on a Leafy Light scent blocker suit, and for that day it worked because the wind blowing right down that direction. I was kind of expecting to shoot deer back this direction. But I was sitting there, and the buck come up, got in the scrape, started pawing and rubbing his antlers around in it, and he started licking a limb, and I still don't have my bow in my hand because when he come out, you know, it had been some time had passed from the time I seen him come off the hill into the creek, when he come out of the creek back towards me. So I finally reached up there, got my bow, just turned just as quiet as I could, got drawed back, and buck was still right there in the scrape, peeing in it. and got drawn back, put my top pin low in the pocket, and shot him right here. Shot him just absolutely perfect in the shoulder, and he just went around the corner there, and I waited 20 minutes or so, got down and walked over there and looked out in that green winter wheat or whatever they had planted, and that buck looked beautiful. That white belly in contrast with that green grass they had growing. He was just laying there. And so I went over there and got him, and I'd been borrowing the farmer's four-wheeler, and I wrestled that deer around and wrestled him, and finally got him up on the back of that four-wheeler and went back to the barn and grabbed Sean's wife Kelly and their son Carter, and hard to believe that's 18 years ago. That boy was just a baby. Heck, he's a grown man working for me now, so man. Anyway, went down there and got the pictures with my deer and everything in the daylight, and got him back down to the barn, and man, I think I might have had me a cold beer or two, and was sitting there bragging about my buck and telling stories, and it was dark. It hadn't got done dark on us, and Sean come in. I just pointed at my buck laying over there. Oh man, you know how best friends are. He went over there and rubbed on him, looked at him, and twisted his head around and shook my hand, congratulated me. He told me, you know, what a nice buck it was and everything. And kind of got quiet. Then he just looked at me with that little old crooked grin of his and said, let's go get mine. I said, man, you shot one? He said, yeah, it done got plumb dark, and he heard the buck coming through the trees behind him, and buck come right out below him, and he drawed back, couldn't see through his peep sight, but the deer was straight below him, but it was dark enough he couldn't see through his peep, so he just looked right down his arrow and shot him right in the middle of the back, and turned out he made a dang good shot, but you know, when you shoot him straight going away like that, you're only going to get one lung or the other unless you just dead center it. Then if you dead center it, you typically spine them and drop them in their tracks anyway. Well, he went off that spine one side or the other and got one lung and come out, and the buck ran down there probably about 200 yards, and I went down there and got on the blood trail. Sean was a wreck. It was his nicest buck. At the time, it was a Pope and Young 8-pointer. And, but you know, that deer wasn't dead an hour, and coyotes had already found it, started eating on the hams on it when we walked up on it. But two best friends, they're two best bucks in the same night. Only one other time that I can remember I did that was with Jeremy Duggar, and when we shot those two mule deer bucks on Navajo one morning. He killed a 28-inch buck, and I shot a Pope and Young buck, and then the same year, isn't that crazy? That was in September of 2000, and in November of 2000, me and Sean Dennison shot our two best bucks together at the time, and man, that's what hunting's all about, you know. Those kind of stories right there just give you chill bumps. Well, anyway, go out there and do your thing, do you, be who you are, tell your story just the way it happened, and I'll see you down the trail or on the mountain.